So let us start. And hi, hello everyone. On behalf of Sona School of Management, we welcome you to the webinar on marketing as a career. And about the speaker today is Mr. Alauddin A, founder and director, Banana Tree Counseling and Training Services, Coimbatore. Right. Over to the speaker now. Let's enjoy the session.
Hi, good morning, everyone. And this is Alauddin, and I started my career as a car sales executive. I hope I'm audible to all, and I think you people can
Yes, yes.
Is there any kind of disturbance, or you can let me know in the chat box?
No, sir.
Yeah.
You're audible.
Okay, thank you. Yep, today I'm happy to be here meeting you people through this webinar because my career, I started my career as a car sales executive. I used to sell passenger cars of Maruti Udyog, and as well as for Tata and all. And also I worked for financial companies like Ashok Leyland Finance, selling their financial products for their commercial vehicles and for their non-commercial vehicles and all. So also I worked with an international call center talking to UK people to promote token telecom products. So I have a pretty good, quite a few years of experience with this particularly sales domain. So I'm happy to be here, and thank you, Kamal sir, for inviting me. And so we can get into the session. Just a moment. Let me share the presentation. Yes, it's getting loaded. And oh, just a moment. Let me get into this. Yeah. I hope the presentation is visible for all, and kindly just let me know the things in the chat box. Okay. And yeah, please. And I want my sessions to be a bit interactive, so in between, if I ask some kind of questions, and if you have some kind of doubt, or if you want to intervene, you can very well just interact with me. So we have quite a few minutes here to have the interactions. It's not a problem, we will go ahead. And marketing as a career. So actually, while choosing the career, all of us have a lot of things in our mind, and we want our career to be somewhat safe, and as well as much of us people, we want to be we want to make money, and as well as we want to be successful in our career. But at the same time, there are a lot of challenges in choosing the career itself. So let us find out what are the things in marketing domain, and as well as in choosing a career. So first of all, let us get into the challenges of people. In sense, first of all, what are the challenges of the students, particularly with the student community? Students have huge challenge with the things that they learn, and the things that they actually that they can apply. The concepts, they learn a lot of concepts, but as of now, for example, if we take BCG matrix, okay, after this COVID-19 problem and all, it is very challenging for us people to find out which is actually the cash cow, and where are the dots, and where are the question marks, and everything is bit challenging for us people. So we learn a lot, but at the same time, it is challenging for us to apply it, because we really don't have a real-time experience. That's the main problem. When we get into the practical world, we encounter a lot of issues. Okay. And then with companies, even companies have a lot of challenges, because companies produce a lot of goods, and they come up with their R&D department, they come up with new products and innovative products, but unfortunately it becomes challenging for them to promote their products. They really have they work a lot on positioning their products and promoting their products. So that's the kind of challenges that the market is facing. And if you take countries, even now, for example, after this COVID-19, even countries are a bit confused when to impose the lockdown or when to lift the lockdown, or what kind of strategy that they can go ahead, whether they can move for the herd immunity kind of stuff, or whether what to say, they have to impose much more stricter kind of stuff, or how to deal with the economy, and as well as how to control this pandemic and how to safeguard their people. So all countries have their own challenges. For example, if you see here, I just wanted to say that if a student wants to get into the marketing job or sales domain, it is all about understanding the culture of people. For example, let me ask, what we people did once we had an announcement from Prime Minister when the lockdown is going to be imposed. What we did, I just wanted the response from the chat box. What you people did first, okay? When on the March 23rd, the announcement came for the lockdown, what we people did first of all? I just wanted to know about the responses. Sorry, just a moment. This is. Sorry, I was a bit disconnected. Am I audible? Am I visible? Please, I need some kind of response.
So you're audible and visible, sir.
Okay, done. Thank you. And yeah, let me see the responses. I started some doing course in sales, and yes, audible. Thank you. Thank you. So in India, what we people did once the lockdown was imposed, once we got the news that we are not going to have the usual way of life, and our lifestyle is going to be get affected, and all the shops are going to be shut down. And what you people did really, first of all, some people told that they joined some sales course, and I'm asking, even between on that particular day, what you did on that particular day, on the, first of all, what we did, because here comes the difference and the understanding about the culture or a culture. Yeah. Okay. So right, so many of us, what we did is, almost in India, we just queued up and we rushed towards the grocery, and we moved towards the medical shops or druggist, and we bought the hand sanitizers, the mask, and as well as the soaps, and we also bought a lot of grocery, so that we can pile up the stock in our refrigerator, so that we may not have any trouble for food. But or else, did you know what happened in June was? Excuse me, there's a huge noise going on. I think somebody's mic has enabled. Yeah, purchasing essential things and all. But whereas in US, yes, thank you. But in US, you know what people did when they were about to know the curfew is going to be imposed. They queued up in front of the armory and they bought guns and as well as bullets. Okay, it may be surprising why those people, many of them, they went to the armory, to the weapon shop, and they bought the guns and as well as bullets for their guns they already had. The reason behind it is very simple, because it actually US is a well developed country, but again they didn't have any kind of savings and all. That's what it was very challenging for the US government to impose lockdown. Okay, because if you impose lockdown today in 100% lockdown today in US, the next day he won't have, many of them, for almost 40% of the people, they won't have next day anything to eat. They won't have a single penny to eat, because their culture is almost, many of their culture is like they earn and they spend that night, and tomorrow they start the day, and they go for their earnings. That's the kind of lifestyle they had. So they queued up to buy weapons. Why they bought the weapons? Because if something happens like that, in sense, if curfew is imposed, definitely people may not have money. So many of them, they will have social problems. There may be burglary, there may be robbery when you go on the road. Even some people might just break into your house. They may threaten you to give money and all. So the problem is, first of all, we have to understand the culture when before getting into marketing or sales domain. What kind of culture uh, have people actually have, and because based on the culture people consume, based on their lifestyle, based on their attitude, based on their emotions, the economy moves. So first of all, we need to have the basic understanding of how the people behave. In sense, it's not just about consumer behavior. I'm talking about the macro view, about how a culture decides, how the emotions, the predominant traditions and the culture dominates the marketplace. That's my point. So try to just go through and find out how people behave in what are the places. For example, if you take Tamil Nadu, is very different marketplace when you compare to Karnataka. But whereas if you compare to Kerala, again it is different. Kerala seems to be a bit conservative when it becomes when it is for a normal lifestyle. But whereas the people there buy some expensive cars, they focus more on expensive cars. They want a very quality product when it comes to automobile. Okay, so everything differs. In sense, people have their own culture, and they have their own trends, and they decide upon. So first of all, we have to understand the trends. So before looking at your JD, if you're applying for a job, before looking at the JD, job description, you have to think about a certain stuff. In sense, you have to look upon yourself and you have to reflect back. You cannot simply choose the career by just reading out the job description and the brand name. You cannot get into the company you love, because you have to find out whether you would be suitable for that position or not. Before reading the JD, you have to find out what are the value systems, what are your value systems and strengths, and your personality and your interest, and at last the market scope. Because this is the way how we have to define or how we have to choose our career. If you take, values play an important role in our lives. So first of all, we should find out or write down what are our values, and based on the values we have to find out whether the marketing or a sales job will align with the kind of values that we have. And thereafter, our strengths. In sense, I'm talking about the competencies, I'm talking about the skill sets here. And thereafter, the personality, your temperament. Okay, what kind of attitudes you have towards a job, or towards criticism, or towards going out, or towards moving with people, new people. And what kind of attitude you express when you have challenges, when you face challenges. Everything is important. You just wanted to find out everything has to be aligned so that you can get into the job. It's not only for marketing job, it's for all the jobs, and as well as your interest. Okay, you please don't choose a career, never choose a career simply because the career is safe, and as well as the career is going to give you more money. Okay, it may seem to be lucrative, but whereas if we are not successful in that career, definitely we cannot certainly we cannot make money out of it, or we may not be successful in it. So first of all, you just go through these 5 things before getting into or reading out any JD, or getting into any job, or choosing your career. Again, here, career, if you're, for example, if you have done the previous stuff, in sense, if you have evaluated your value system, if you have evaluated your personality and your interest and your market scope, everything, and you have decided that you are capable of going into marketing or a sales kind of job, there's some kind of difference between sales and marketing. So you have to read, thereafter you have to read the job description clearly, and find out whether the job is actually marketing or into sales. Simply, if you want to say marketing is like, for example, if we take now the actor Vijay, Ilayya Thalapathy Vijay is coming up with a new project called Master. Okay, and that movie, even now they are promoting. They have some of the news about it, and whatever in filmmaking, in film industry, whatever the news, it is just like the promotion. For example, the audio launch is a promotion, the teaser is a promotion, the poster release is also a promotion. Okay, even if there is a change in the actress, definitely it is also a promotion, because it is actually giving the update to the fans, so that the fans will get ready, and they will that there will be some kind of expectation created. So those are the things, marketing, we call those things as marketing. But whereas sales is something a bit different. When marketing is actually preparing for sales, but sales is really encountering the customer, in sense, facing the customer straight away, and dealing with the customer. That's actually sales. For example, after all the stuff with the master movie and all, the producer will talk to the distributor and the theater owners. They will settle down for some kind of negotiations, and they will sell the master movie to people, and that's actually sales. In cine industry, most of the times the salespersons are the capable capable producers or good salespersons. Okay, even if the project has a lot of problems, if they have the capacity, if they have the negotiation capacity, and if they have the lobbying network, they can easily sell the products. I am just coming up with such kind of examples so that it would be easy for you to understand. But whereas marketing is preparation of that particular sales, it's creating awareness about your product and all. And when you are choosing the career, particularly into sales and marketing, you have to decide whether you are moving towards B2B or B2C. If you are choosing B2B, for example, business to a business, okay, and you should be very much clear about your choosing your domain. You won't be specific, because B2B is actually going to be to build long-term relationships with people, with the dealers or the agents. If you're, for example, if you're getting into FMCG, and you'd be dealing with a lot of shop owners, or the lot of distributors, or lot of agency people, and you'll be frequently in touch with those people, and it is like creating a long-term relationship. But whereas B2C is not like that. It is like almost many of the times it is just like a one-time kind of relationship, and thereafter you may get some kind of referral. That is a bit different, but again it is almost a short term. But whereas if you want to meet a lot of new people, definitely B2C will be a better option for you, but it would be much more challenging, because you have to work consistently. But whereas in B2B, once you have formed the network, at least if you have worked for some 2-3 years, and thereafter you will have your own network, and with that network, it becomes easy for you to develop your base and you can move on. And you have to also choose whether you're going to sell a product or you're going to sell a service. Okay, because selling an idea is something different. Okay, you need much more convincing skills and you need much more conceptualizations, because if you don't really understand the concepts behind that, if you really don't understand the emotions behind that, behind the ideas and the concepts, because if you take insurance or any kind of financial products, definitely it is going to be challenging. And nowadays a lot of new kind of what's it, jobs are evolving. For example, I saw a person, I met with the person, and who is a marketing executive, sales executive or marketing executive, I forgot his designation. He came from Amazon. Okay, you know, all of you people, you know, Amazon is actually they are selling online products. Okay, and they actually go to people, and in sense they go to shop owners, and they go to dealers and they meet them. And that guy came to me, and he gave us a proposal that to have an agreement so that we can sell our products through the Amazon platform. Okay, here selling products through online platform is a concept. Okay, and again we are selling the product, but the marketing executive is actually selling a concept here. Okay, selling a concept, and the concept itself is selling a product. Okay, so there are a lot of new kinds of things are evolving. For example, if you take Swiggy and any kind of food delivery and all, if you are a marketing executive or promotional people in that particular domain, you would be meeting with a lot of restaurant guys. Okay, so that you have to come up with a different kind of strategy to deal with those people. It is not simply like it's going to be a product and you can sell and you can come. It's just like a B2B kind of stuff, and as well as it's there, you have products, you have to evaluate their product, and as well as you have to convey the kind of idea that your company has. Everything is there. Okay, and tips in the restaurant. For example, if you are visiting a restaurant, who will get the tips? In sense, who will you give the tips after having your dinner? You can reply by just text, or you can also come over voice. Who will you give the tips to? You're going to a restaurant for a dining. Okay, you have your dinner, and after the dinner you will be while paying the bill, you will be giving some tips to people. Who will you give the tips to? Excuse me. Yes, to the waiter, to the server, right? Okay. And you people may wonder why I'm asking such a silly question. You just think, first of all, actually, who works a lot in a hotel? Okay, or else let us go here. You give tips to the, yeah, tips means to improve prompt service, and you are expecting the service, you are expecting an experience, a nice experience. For example, the food that you take is actually produced by a farmer, and thereafter it is transported by some logistics services people, and it was sold by some what to say, a grocer or the people in the shop. And even inside a hotel, the chef prepares. Okay, the guys who are in the kitchen, they prepare the dish and they make the dish much more delicious, so that it is very tasty for you. But whereas, what is the job or what is the role of a server or bearer? The bearer simply takes the dish and he serves to you. Okay, he serves to you, he gives you an experience. But whereas the chef is creating a product, but whereas a server or a bearer, he is just giving a prompt service. In sense, he gives you an experience. If you like the experience, you will give more tips. If you don't like the experience, you will give a negative feedback in their feedback notebook or a suggestions notebook. Am I right? So that is what that actually happens with the company also. If you take inside a company, sales and marketing team is just like a server or a bearer kind of people. Okay, the R&D people are there, and the supply chain guys are there, and the production line is also there. You just think, without a sales and marketing team, the company cannot function. Okay, all the components are important, but for example, if they produce and if they supply and if they create new product, everything is okay. Who is going to actually face the customer? Who is going to take all the products to the customers? It is the sales and marketing people. Okay, so actually, which is the rewarding kind of domain? It's actually the rewarding kind of domain is sales and marketing, because you face the customer. As such, how the bearer or server in a restaurant, he actually deals with the customer. So you would be dealing with the customers, so you would be rewarded more, and you will have a lot of privileges. If you are into sales and marketing domain, you will have pressure and everything, that is okay. But apart from that, definitely without you, the company cannot move forward. Okay, and so sales and marketing domain is inevitable. Okay, it's instrumental. Definitely, certainly, if they produce, they need the marketing people. If they need the sales people to sell their products, or else they, what they will do by keeping all their products at their stockyard. Okay, so whatever happens, definitely, certainly you will have opportunity. Okay, where to learn from? For example, if you want to be into marketing or sales, where we can learn from? For example, we can learn from the trends in the market, because actually emotions, already I told that emotions are very vital for the economy. As of now, we are in the pandemic impact, and we have a lot of fear. So fear drives us. With the fear, the economy is slowly moving. If we don't have fear, if the entire emotion, if the approximate or the average emotion of the population in the country is a bit happy, the the market and the economy will be much more faster. Okay, now only a few industries will benefit by such kind of fear. Maybe some kind of pharmaceutical or healthcare industry and food industry. The basic industries can survive. But whereas apart from that, all the niche market is going to suffer, because they won't have the space to move on and explore and to go ahead. Okay, so where we can learn from is, we can learn from the market. We can see what are the things that are going on in the market. We can now we can have pandemic impact tide. That's a tide now. It's a pandemic impact. There's a lot of pandemic impact, and now we can learn from this. For example, Dauber, Marico, Imami, and Jodi Laboratories, and these people and these companies were already they were into soap and what to say, soap manufacturing, and the kind of shampoo kind of stuff, all they were doing. And they, after this COVID-19 impact, we these people started producing more hand sanitizers, hand wash kind of stuff and all. But whereas if you take ITC had a perfume factory in Himachal. Okay, Savlon is a brand of ITC. But whereas what ITC did was, they had a perfume factory in Himachal. Immediately, they predicted the market, and they changed the entire perfume factory. They brought under the Savlon brand, and they started producing hand sanitizers and hand wash, because they knew the market is going to be particularly with this. And so, and if you take Diageo India, they are liquor manufacturers, and they started manufacturing hand sanitizers. Okay, so with a trend, with the emotions of the people, it's immediacy. In sense, immediately we should respond. We need to have presence of mind. To be a marketing executive, to be a sales executive, we need to understand the emotions of the people who we are dealing with. Only by then easily we can sell our products. And we have to be creative and proactive. Okay, we can be proactive by looking at the emotions. Only by looking at the emotions you can be proactive. And when you are proactive, you can be creative. In sense, when you are planning and when you forecast that something is going to happen, if you get such an insight, with that insight you can create some kind of strategy, or some you can come up with new products. Okay, if you are not a company, how you can deal, or how you can learn from the consumer. For example, if you're dealing with the customer, if the customer has challenges, or has fears, or suspicious about your products, your company products, or your company the concepts, by then you once when you identify that there is fear in his mind, you have to comfort him by explaining, and you have to resolve the issues, so that if he is fearless, definitely he will buy your product. So first of all, try to identify what kind of emotion is actually playing as a barrier, or what kind of emotion is going to help you out in selling the product or promoting. Okay, and I'm talking in general for both the sales and as well as for marketing domain here. And this thing happened after this lockdown. My neighborhood grocer, it's actually just opposite my home, and he had a lot of business during this lockdown, because people cannot go out, they cannot go to supermarkets, they cannot buy a lot of stuff. They had to buy whatever that this grocer offered. Okay, he made a huge business. Whenever I visit, I used to see from my window, and I can see there will be 4 5 people just standing in a queue. They will be buying something, and each guy will spend at least 5 to 10 minutes buying their things. In sense, in a small grocery shop, easily he would make somewhat around 20,000 or 30,000 sales for a day. Okay, so that in 1.5 months you'd have made a good margin, a good sum. But he failed in certain places, because he had huge margin. We knew that what kind of prices that are going on in the market, in sense in the marketplace, in the um, what to say, the sandy, what are the veggies, how much the vegetables cost, and how much this guy is selling it for. And he had only one statement to all people. Okay, he used to say that the price is high, the price is too high. There's a huge demand for vegetables, there's a huge demand for all stuff, so I cannot reduce the price. And after the lockdown, I could see when there's a relaxation, still we are in lockdown, but there's a lot of relaxations now. And when the government announced some kind of relaxation, I couldn't see the same kind of crowd. Only half people went to the same grocer, because he didn't use the opportunity to create the trust. He used the opportunity to make money for that particular small amount of time, in since 1 to 1.5 months. And he was a bit satisfied with that particular amount. That was his choice. But literally he failed. In sense, all people started moving to other shops, and they started buying from the other places, in sense the bigger places, and going towards the wholesale market and all. And after this lockdown, when the relaxations happened, I could see many people started telling, the business people started complaining about there's a huge pressure for them regarding the payments, for their outstanding payments. Even their suppliers are not ready to send any material unless or until they clear all their dues. Okay, and all business people are in a problem. They lack funds as of now, so they don't have they are not in comfortable place, but still almost all companies are putting a lot of pressure on payments, and they wanted to collect the payments, because one thing is sure here: the previous guy, the grosser, failed to create the trust, and all people are now they are demanding for a trust. In sense, they all the business people, all the suppliers, they are not ready to trust anyone now. So now, if you are in this conditions, if you are doing a business and if you have some 4 suppliers, and all the 4 suppliers are demanding you the payment, and you are not in a position to make or clear all their dues, okay, what will you do? I just want some comments. What will you do? Is it easy for you to, because you don't have the money, and at the same time you have to run the business, what will you do at such kind of pain? Excuse me. Yeah, please. That's it. Raman sir, I got a um, nice reply. It's will negotiate further. Issue PDC. Yeah, super. Issue PDC. I will issue the post-dated check. That's the kind of business people they really do. They take risk, and they try to negotiate further. That's exactly what we need to do. We cannot sit and we cannot say that okay, this guy is not going to supply, so I cannot run my shop, or I cannot run my business, so I am going to turn off the business now, so I can shut down the business. That's not going to happen, because you have to survive. As such, if you're a marketing executive, this is the kind of attitude that you need. You need negotiation attitude. In sense, you need attitude for negotiations. You should not think that all the doors are closed for you. Okay, so try to build trust. First of all, how you can build trust, how you can do it? By means of communicating to people, by means of thinking for some time and find out what challenges really the other person is having, and identifying their core issue and resolving the issues by giving them some sort of solutions, and try to negotiate. So you need to have the negotiation attitude, and you need to communicate with them. Okay, and then once this COVID-19 got into our country, the automobile industry, already the automobile industry was not doing well. Already it was in trouble. Mahindra and Mahindra, they started what to say, their R&D. What they did was they started working on ventilators, because in our country we know about our medical infrastructure. Okay, with this medical infrastructure, and not only here, all over the world, if there are a lot of patients at a single point of time, if we have problems with the breathing and all, definitely you need ventilators. Okay, so the Mahindra and Mahindra, they started, and they started R&D about doing coming up with the ventilator, and they did it within 48 hours, and the cost was also somewhat around 7,000 to 10,000 rupees, and they are already in the process. And even in Europe, some of the automobile people, they started moving towards to this kind of producing ventilators for healthcare industries. You just see the kind of shift. The automobile industry is helping the medical infrastructure. So medical equipment, they are coming up with medical equipments. It is not like you have to confine to one place. Okay, and here, and with this thing, the face mask, almost at the beginning, you could find only, you couldn't find the N95 mask here, and you could find only the use and throw kind of very basic and very um, simple mask, face mask, and even some people sold it for higher price. And thereafter, some garment people, they started creating some producing some face mask, and it was very simple. Okay, they were not bothered about whether it will allow you to breathe or not. Even I bought a face mask from the grocer just opposite my home, and it was not that comfortable. It was not comfortable, but I didn't have a choice by then. But I could see a lot of people bought it. A lot of people bought it. You had no other choice. But parallels, after some time, some people, instance the companies, okay, Veltex and a lot of people who makes, and a lot of people, even Wildcraft. The Wildcraft actually they created they are the bag manufacturers, and they came up with the mask, reusable mask, and N95 mask. So what they did, they had a forecast. They didn't say that, okay, the lockdown is almost over and hereafter already the small guys, the local guys are producing masks. But again, the bigger guys, instance the corporate people or the government guys, they started planning and they had the forecast. They focused on design. They focused on design and they focused on comfort. And the reusable mask that I bought recently, that was very much comfortable when it is compared to the mask that I bought from the grocer. Okay, I at least bother about the cost, because I bought the mask cloth mask from the grocer for somewhat 20 rupee. I bought the reusable mask for some 120 rupee, and I'm happy about that. Okay, because it gives me comfort, because it's a matter of breathing. So the companies are waiting, and it's all about leadership. They know how to plan, they know the forecast, they know definitely the market space. Now people are people are not that scared. When it is when you compare about the initial March and April time, people are not much scared now. People are ready to interact with people. People are ready to go out. Even at this time, their companies have the confidence that they can sell a lot of masks, because they know about the market scope. They can forecast. So you just watch all these things, and with this understanding, basically we can learn. We should learn planning and forecast. And when it comes to online meetings, once the lockdown is imposed, almost all the companies started people asking people to work from home, and they started conducting a lot of online meetings. Many a times they did a meeting for the sake of just to engage people. That's it. Okay, they knew definitely they cannot go out, definitely they cannot produce a lot of results by just by sitting at home. They just wanted their employees to be engaged. Okay, they just wanted to assure that they are there, the company is there. That's why they conducted a lot of meetings. And thereafter, even my niece is doing 10th standard. Okay, now she is going to 10th. Okay, after she has passed 9 grade 9, and now she is going to grade 10. And in their school they started conducting classes in Zoom application. Okay, even I started doing online classes in 2012 in Webex. By 2012 and all, I thought that it was not, I'm not that comfortable with doing online sessions and all. I thought there's some kind of things that are missing. But whereas my niece was very comfortable with online sessions. I really couldn't understand the young generation is ready to adapt to the new online meetings and all. So we have to understand. So I have to change myself, and I have to come up with ideas, new ideas to interact with and interact with people. So food delivery, the technology, the food delivery, it was happening. And even e-pass, the government used the technology for the movement. They control the movement by e-pass, issuing the e-pass. Whether you have a driving license or not, that is secondary. You should have an e-pass to travel from one place to another place. And Arogya Setu, that is also one nice application that the government initiated. So government took the tech support. So hereafter, whatever the domain you go to, particularly if you want to be in sales and marketing, and you need to have lot of ICT skills, information and technology skills. Okay, information and technology and communication skills, because with these things you can actually interact with people, even if you have some kind of restrictions. Okay, and people are ready to use the applications, so we need to be somewhat tech savvy so that we can be comfortable in moving with people. Okay, and for example, during this COVID-19 news channels, they actually they actually had they capitalized some of the emotions, fear and relief. I just wanted to know from you people whether they capitalized fear or relief. What what they promoted, what the news channels promoted, first of all, the fear among people, or they wanted to give relief to people? Okay, you just you can, anybody can text. And almost many a times, as how I felt is like the news channels, all the news channels, they actually promoted fear. Okay, if you take the end, if you watch a news channel, they would talk about a lot about fear, and they will talk, or they will have only a small portion, maybe about, so for 15 minutes or for 10 minutes, those people will give some programs about the relief, for example psychological relief, or uh, talking about the number of cases got recovered from the hospital. Okay, so news channels, they knew fear is the prime phenomena, so they capitalized on it. Okay, and YouTubers, they focused more on relief. If you take YouTubers, all the YouTubers, they tried to focus more on relief. They just they wanted to make comedy shows. They wanted to do a lot of political satire, and a lot of movie based, and all the stars. They wanted to focus on relief, because if a YouTuber, they can instinct, they can create fear, but people won't accept them. People actually don't have the credibility factor is there. People won't really trust the YouTubers about all kind of information, but whereas news channels are the credible source as of now. Whether they are doing the ethical portion or not, that is not our part, but again, they have the advantage. So the fear people, in sense, they capitalized on the fear, but whereas YouTubers focused on relief. And if you take the trends, dalgona coffee, okay, a lot of people were preparing dalgona coffee and putting that on posting it on Facebook and WhatsApp status and Instagram, and safe hands challenge, washing their hands, and fitness challenge. Many people, they started challenging others on social media regarding this fitness challenge, and the sari challenge and pillow challenge. Those are some of the funniest stuff. But we have to look into that trend. If you just see, all these things have a trend. If fitness challenge, by the fitness challenge, there are many fitness coaches who actually started doing this, and they challenged the other people. They started promoting themselves even at the lockdown, during the lockdown times. And regarding this pillow challenge or sari challenge, whatever it is, okay, the fashion industry wants people uh, to be with what to say, to be with the trend. They want people to be in the fashion world. They don't want people to just move out and to be in the altruistic way of going with a simple way of life. Because if all people started leading a simple way of life, definitely the fashion industry cannot sustain. So these people have all these things have a business instinct within. It seems to be somewhat entertaining. Okay, so lockdown trends, we can learn a lot from lockdown trends. In sense, importantly, you have to capitalize from the right emotion. What emotion? Because The YouTuber cannot perform the same stuff what the news channel is performing. Okay, but both people capitalized on emotions. So you have to absorb all these stuff. With these things, if you go into the competency, these are the competencies that are required for a marketing and sales guy: creativity, communication, tech savvy. You need to be tech savvy, and negotiation skills, leadership skills, and team playing skills, analytical skills, and financial management. And these are the 8 core competencies that are required for sales guy. And you can when you can learn all these skills. You need not want to just go out or for go out and read a lot of books to improve your competencies on this. When you are moving with your friends, when you are dealing with people, you can develop your creativity if you really plan well. And tech savvy, it's not at all a problem. Almost all the youngsters, you have a very good technological advantage, and you are tech savvy nowadays. And the negotiation skills and team skills or communication skills, these things you can learn from the people nearby. Okay, survival of the fittest. Okay, in the sales and marketing, capacity to convince the customer is the foremost thing. If you want to survive, you should have the capacity to convince the customer. And the second thing is attitude to manage your boss. Among these two things, I wanted you people to understand this clearly, because this is the most important part of your entire career. If you're choosing sales and marketing as your career, this is the most important part that you have to understand. Okay, with these two things, which is more important? I want the response from people. Excuse me. Can anyone say which is more important? Capacity to convince the customer or attitude to manage your boss, which is very important. Okay, I don't get any responses. Attitude to manage your boss. Yeah, Shivaramakrishnan. Yeah, I got the response. That's the fact. Okay, capacity capacity to convince the customer is important, but what is more important is capacity to manage your boss is very important, because you are not going to deal the same customer every day, but you are going to deal with the same boss every day. So if you want to retain in a job, if you want to retain in a domain, you need to have an attitude to manage your boss first of all. That is the foremost quality. Even if your performance is poor, if you know how to manage your boss, you can sustain in the job. You can be in the job. But whereas if you have the capacity to convince the customer, okay, your performance is good. But if you don't have the attitude to cope up with your job, with your boss, there will be trouble. Definitely, you cannot stick to one place. So stickability is 99% of anyone's ability, particularly when it comes to sales and marketing job. So survival of the fittest, here for the survival, you need to have an attitude, open attitude to deal with your boss first of all. And the capacity to convince with the customer is also important. Okay, but the first thing, that the second thing is the most important thing that you have to learn. Okay, because the first thing is not only with attitude, your performance. Yes, thank you. Your performance is good and you can change your boss. Maybe the person will come to boss level. That's okay. But to deal with every day, for example, if your performance, even if your performance is good, immediately you cannot move to the higher level. To move on in the higher hierarchy, you need some time. You need some time space. All are human beings. If you cannot deal properly with a boss, he will do all kind of mischievous things. He will trouble you. That's the problem, because that's my personal experience. Even if you perform well, customer is always king. I do agree with that. I do agree with that. capacity to convince the customer is the foremost thing. That is okay. If you have convinced the customer and if you have brought the sales and your boss is not happy with your performance, if your boss keeps on criticizing about your business, for example, if you are in a finance company and you are, for example, you are promoting loans, and if you have convinced a person to take a home loan and you're bringing the home loan and everything is over, and after that if your boss tells that your customer is not a good profile customer and you're doing all the nonsense business and you're not capable enough to bring in some good sum, what will you do? How will you do? How will you cope up with that kind of stress? So customer will be there. I do agree. You have to convince the customer, but most importantly, to retain in a job, to retain in the job itself. First of all, to retain in a place is very important. Even during this lockdown, we all know that we have to perform well. But first of all, what we do, we just wanted to be alive. That is the foremost thing. Safety is the foremost thing. We wanted to be alive, so we people stay inside home and we are developing our skill sets. As such, to stay in a job is much more important than performing in it. First of all, you need to have a stable platform wherein you can just stand and think upon. If you have an annoying boss, it would be challenging for you. Okay. Okay, thank you. Anyways, that depends. And I just wanted to give a, yeah, of course, even with the corporate group means it happens. It happens. If you I'm not talking, that's why I made the boss. Even if you have a senior, even if you have a senior and the senior is somewhat annoying and he doesn't like you, you have to first of all convince him. Because if you cannot convince your boss, because wherein you are actually spending a lot of time with your boss, if you cannot convince this guy, really there's a challenge of convincing other people also. So first of all, spend some time convincing your boss first of all, and learn a lot, practice well by convincing your boss, and thereafter apply the skills to the customers. Okay. And if we move on, be in the wanted list. Okay, if you want to learn all other skill set, what you have to do is you should be in the wanted list of your friends. Where your friends are, if they expect you to be there, you to be with them, if they feel that they have a nice time chatting with you, then you have the kind of skill sets that is required for marketing or sales job. That's very simple. This is the simple equation. If there's a group of people and if they feel good, if you're there, you need not want to talk much. You need not want to just dance in front of them. If your companionship is somewhat a pleasing and a soothing one for people, definitely you are capable enough of doing a marketing job. And I'm here at the end of the session, and I just wanted to say sales and marketing is a promising career for those who are open for even insensible criticism and ignore external pressure. Okay, if you take all the pressure inside your head, definitely you will be in hell. You cannot perform. And you should be open for criticism, even if the criticism is insensible. For example, if you take Ajit or Vijay or whoever the actors or whoever the political leaders, whatever they do, whatever the good they do, okay, irrespective of that, people are ready to criticize. People are there to criticize. As such, even if you perform well, even if you even in a relationship, if you do a lot of things to your loved ones, you will have criticism. First of all, we have to accept that sometimes of insensible criticism will also be there. We should be open for that. If we are open for such kind of criticism, and if we can ignore external pressure, we can sustain in a sales and marketing job. If you're not ready for that, sorry to say that it would be a challenging career for you. It is not easy to sustain the job. In other words, it's pretty wise. If you are pretty wise, if you are ready, and if you are very jovial, in sense, if you are very if you have a sportive attitude with your friends, it is easy for you to sustain the job. And that is my take. And I hope you would have got some kind of insights, because you can really you can get or develop your competencies by just by moving with your friends and thinking about the market, or watching the market scenarios, and understanding the emotions of people. Even now I got some news from abroad that some 6 lakh people are going to be um, going to lose their jobs in Gulf countries itself. 6 lakh Indians are going to lose their jobs, and a reverse migration is going to happen. Even in that kind of uh, scenario, only few sales jobs would be lost, because if there is a company, a sales and marketing team will be inevitable. They need their job. Okay, they need sales and marketing team to sell their products, to promote their products, because these sales and marketing people are going to be their address. They are going to be the ambassadors. Only with them they can sustain in the market. With all these things, and I'm thanking you for your patient listening, and I'm ready for any kind of questions. You can come up with the questions. If you have any doubts, you can have quiz.
Sir, Aladdin sir, this is Kamal. Can you hear me, sir? Sir, Aladdin sir, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me, sir? Aladdin sir?
Hello. 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 Try to rejoin. Please wait.
Right, I thank Mr. Alauddin for this wonderful session. If you have any questions, please post it in the chat box. I will get to him. I guess he is not able to connect with the webinar content. Participants, please fill in the certificate link so that we'll send you the e-certificate. And in case of any queries, please do get in touch with us with the email ID. Right? Thank you, one and all.